One of the most complicated things about living in another country with another language is going to the doctor and then trying to explain what's going on in your body. Do you want me to open up my mouth or raise my arm? What are you trying to say, doctor? And if you're anything like me, when you go, you're just trying to catch every word you can and put it together and try to figure out what the doctor's asking and how to explain yourself really clearly. Then you have to explain your symptoms to him, which can seem almost impossible with some of these types of words. So today, we're going to walk through just a few simple phrases and words that you could use on any trip to the doctor that might help to make this experience a little bit less frightening for you. Hi there, I'm Phil, and my mom is a nurse, so I've heard a lot of these medical words lots of times in my life, but I'm not an expert. But I am looking forward to teaching you a few things about a trip to the doctor. Thanks for joining me. Well, let's start with your first interaction with the doctor's office, which is probably going to be the telephone, which is kind of unfortunate because it's a little bit more difficult to speak on the phone than face-to-face with somebody. But let's start with the phone. So you pick up your phone and you say, "Hi, my name is Phil. I would like to make an appointment with the doctor as soon as possible." And the nurse or the person on the phone will have to check the calendar, just wait a second, and then they'll probably say, "Well, what do you need? What's your problem?" So you have to explain a little of that on the phone. So here are some ideas of things you could say on the phone to quickly give an idea of your symptoms. "I've got a cough that just won't go away. It's been a few days and I'm still coughing. I've been sick to my stomach for about 4 days now, and it just isn't easing up. It just isn't easing up." Or you can talk about pain. "I've got pain in my back. I've got pain in my foot. I've got pain in my arm." That should be enough information for the nurse to take your information and give it to the doctor. So the nurse will say, "Okay, the doctor's available on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Is that good?" And you'll say, "Yes, thank you." And you're finished with the phone call. That wasn't so bad, right? Well, that was just part one. That was just the phone call. So let's now imagine that you're in the doctor's office. The nurse calls you back to the examination room, and the doctor finally comes in after a few extra minutes, and he'll say, "So, what brings you in today? So, what brings you in today?" And then you'll have to tell him what brings you in today. To do this, I'll show you a few pictures, and you decide what you would say to explain the symptoms you're having for this problem. Let's start. So for this one, I would say, "Oh, my stomach has been hurting. My stomach has been churning," we could say, "for the last few days, and it won't seem to go away." How about this one? You could say, "I've got a cold," and you could say, "The cough is especially bad. I've been coughing for a few days now, and the cough just won't go away." How about this one? "I was playing basketball or volleyball or soccer the other day, and I fell and I twisted my ankle or I sprained my ankle, depending on what happened to you, and it just really hurts. It's hard to even walk on now." Or this one. "I woke up the other day with a horrible back pain, maybe lower back, maybe upper back, and it's really difficult to walk, or it's difficult to breathe, or it's difficult to sit." You can explain how that feels to you. After the doctor hears your symptoms and sees what's going on a bit, he might ask you, "So have you taken anything for this? So have you taken anything for this?" And what that means is, have you taken any medicine for this? Could be an over-the-counter medicine or prescription medicine that you had. I don't know where you would have found it, but have you taken anything for this problem? So you can explain if you have. "I've taken some over-the-counter medicines for this since Wednesday. I haven't taken anything for it. I did, but it's gotten worse in the last couple of days. I did take something for it, and it hasn't gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better. It hasn't gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better." Now, the doctor is not just going to take your word for your symptoms. He's going to want to check you out a little bit and see parts of your body and see how they look as a medical professional. So what I'm going to do now is I have a sentence for you, and I'm going to leave a little blank for one of the words, and I want you to listen to what I'm trying to describe and what the sentence says and see what word you would fill in for this blank. I'll just say beep when I come to the blank. Okay, you're in the examination room. The doctor has his little wooden stick and he's coming at your mouth and he says, okay, I want to take a quick look at your beep. Say ah. What is it? At your throat. I need to take a quick look at your throat. So he takes a look at your throat. Okay, now the doctor has that piece of equipment that goes from his ears down here with a little thing on the end, and he comes at you to your chest and he says, now I need to listen to your lungs and your heart. So take a deep breath. I'm going to use my beep. Careful, it'll be a little bit cold when it touches your skin. Stethoscope. I'm going to listen with my stethoscope. Sometimes, depending on what your problem is, he'll have you lay down on the table in the examination room and he'll push right here on your belly and he says, I need to take a quick look at your beep area. Abdominal area. The abdominal region is right here. So as he presses on your belly, on your stomach, he will be pressing on your abdominal area. All right, sometimes the doctor will take that cuff, we call it. It's a black thing that goes around your arm, and he has a part over here that he can squeeze and make it very tight on you. And he'll say, now I need to check your beep. What's he checking when he makes your arm feel tighter and tighter and tighter and finds the numbers? It's your blood pressure. And in English, we always say blood pressure. I know in some languages they just say pressure. But in English, we always need to say, the doctor is checking my blood pressure. While he checks your blood pressure, he'll also be checking right here to see how many times per minute your heart is beating. And the doctor will say, I also want to check your beep. I want to make sure this is at a good level. What is it? It's your pulse. He wants to check your pulse to make sure the beats per minute of your heart are at a good level. And then after he's done, after he's figured out what is wrong and a good solution for it, some medicine that you could use, he will probably take out his little piece of paper or digitally on the computer and he will write you a beep so you can take it to the pharmacy and receive the medicine that he has for you. What does he write for you? He writes you a prescription, a prescription. This is the thing that you'll take to the pharmacy and get your medicine that the doctor has prescribed for you. At the end of the appointment, he'll probably talk to you about the medicine and how that will work, when you will start to feel better, what would happen if you don't start to feel better, if you should come back and visit him again, and then when you could start going back to work or school or other activities. And of course, this will depend on what country you live in as to how that really works. Do you have any funny or horror stories from visiting a doctor's office in a new country with a new language? Anything that was really crazy or weird, or any questions that you have, please write them in the comments or contact me. This is an important thing that people just have to do, visit the doctor. So if you have questions, let me know and we'll keep this dialogue going. There are thousands more words and phrases that you could use when going to the doctor, depending on what you need. But this should hopefully give you a little bit of confidence going into the doctor using these words on a phone call and then in the exam that will help you to go and be successful and leave the doctor's office with some medicine and maybe feeling better afterwards. Thanks for joining me today. Have a good one.